Welcome to the FitBiz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young, and whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real-world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. All right, you guys, welcome to the Online FitBiz Accelerator. This is Tobias Young, and I am joined here by Michael with Regenerative Health. And man, I'm stoked to have Michael in here today. We met at a fitness expo in San Jose, and we had a good friend of ours that we both mutual friend named Gabe that actually introduced us. And I'm stoked, man. I'm excited to be here with you today, Michael. And for those of you who don't already know about regenerative health and hormonal balancing, this is going to be a great show for you. And for those of you that are kind of, on the cusp and already know about it, we might be able to give you some extra tips. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button in here and share this with a friend. So let's go ahead and dive in. Michael, can you tell us, man, for those listeners who don't already know a little bit about you, who you are, why you got into regenerative health, and how it all works, man?
Right on, Tobias. First of all, thank you for this. I was humbled and blessed when Gabe introduced us up there at the expo. What a phenomenal expo, not to just take a minute. What a phenomenal expo, because really focusing on everything health and competition, you being the leader you are, to actually show up at one of those and recognize the value it brings, I think really says a lot. And people need to understand, since I've met you many months ago, the leader you are, the entrepreneur you are, the motivator you are, people follow you. Tobias, you're the kind of person that says, don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Walk beside me and be my friend. And that was something that just, man, I was so impressed when I met you. Really was. What we do at Regenerative and Sports Medicine. Regenerative is a fancy word, brother, for anti-aging, right? And as we all age, especially those that participate in sports, you being the king, the stud you are in mixed martial arts. For me, it was football through college, busting up, knees, and then training like a meathead, proud meathead. I'm 55 now, brother. So since before I turned 16, I did hormones the wrong way. There's ways to get them on the street. Wish I would have known the right ways after I turned 18, because we only treat adults 18 and over for the right way, the right reasons. Really what we're looking at, sir, is for athletes, for weekend warriors, for moms, dads, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, all these people. How do we get you to feel optimal? All right. You hear the term TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. No, you don't want it replaced. Or you hear BHRT, women know it as BHRT, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. You don't want it replaced. We'll dive deeper into that, because I can replace it, but you're not feeling great. For injury recovery, for endurance, for focus, for libido, for desire, for that energy. For women and men, it protects your heart. For men, it protects our prostate. For both genders, your sleep, your circadian rhythm comes back when your hormones are optimized. And one other thing we know now, not just from the Women's Health Initiative that looked at about 35 million women, all from perimenopause through postmenopause, the substantial double-digit decrease for women with breast, uterine, ovarian cancer, dementia, and Alzheimer's. They literally, Tobias, how sad it is that they had to come out and say, well, it's good. We're sorry, ladies. We've been telling you not to do hormone replacement. Yeah, you need to be doing it. For men and women, up to 81% decrease in all-cause mortality when your hormones are optimized. Not replaced, optimized, brother.
So what got you into wanting to dive into more about this? What was
Great question. In 2009, I had crashed myself, basically. I tell my story. It was my strength coach in high school, my linebacker coach in college that got me what we would call the gear. And then after that, I couldn't play anymore because of my knees. So I kept doing it the wrong way. And now fast forward to 2009 when I'm 40 years old. Met my forever wife, had my starter wife, wonderful woman, have a daughter with her. But I don't think she'd be my wife if I hadn't found Dr. Rand McClain. If you look at the Mount Rushmore of hormones worldwide, you will see two physicians. One is Dr. Rand McClain, the other being Dr. Lawrence Lipschultz out of Baylor University. Larry has been practicing urology since 1968. He runs the urology department there. And those two men really, when I say there's assertive and there's aggressive, aggressive meaning I'm going to look at the research. I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be in the forefront. And if it's founded in science, I'm going to prove it in my practice now. And that's what we live by. Founded in science, proven in practice. In 2009, I started with Dr. Rand McClain, with Rand. And Tobias, it was eye-opening. Nobody talks about controlling your estrogen as a man. We hear about roid rage all the time. Yeah. Roid rage is elevated estrogen. And my big scare, never had gyno somehow. And man, I was stacking. I was doing it the wrong way, and I was stacking the stack. 21-inch biceps, no neck. I mean, just shredded. Not bragging. I'm blessed that I'm still alive. And that's due to Rand, Dr. Rand McClain. What he did was I started lactating, man. I had no tenderness, no sensitivity, no pain, no gynecomastia, but I had a bug bite or an ingrown hair by my nipple. And, we like to take all the hair off our bodies. And I go to pick out the ingrown hair, and I'm like, what's that coming out of my nipple? Right? So then I squeeze the other nipple. I'm like, all right, well, not enough to even wet the whistle of a baby, but here I am lactating, scared to death. So in 2009, I started seeing Rand. In December of 2018. My wife and I were leaving entertainment. We were very blessed to be very successful on radio, on Sirius XM, Playboy Radio. And Rand was making some changes. I have my doctorate degrees in psychology, but I've always loved the medicine side. Again, doing it the wrong way and the right way. And in December of 2018, I came on board and then took over Regenerative Sports Medicine as the chief operating officer. And not a day goes by that I don't feel truly, if you love what you do, you don't work. I don't think I've ever heard you say, I have to go to work. I've heard you say, I have to go have fun. I'm going to a meeting and I can't wait for it, right? That's how I feel, brother. Yeah. I feel the same way you do. And I get to work with people who want to optimize their overall health and hormones, not just find a way to feel okay.
Yeah, I love that, man. What are some other signs? Obviously, if you're lactating, that's definitely a sign there might be a hormonal imbalance. But what are some other signs if somebody is like, you know what, maybe I am kind of imbalanced? Like what should they look for?
It's a great question. And let's look at it this way. Take out the fools like me. Let's take out the fools like me that were doing the things a stupid way because in high school, you want to go D1. Blessed that I did. When you're in D1, everyone's got hopes and aspirations of going pro. My legs stopped me from doing that. Okay. What we want to look for those, mom, dads, aunts, uncles, what brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever career you're in, whether you are doing mixed martial arts of some type to stay happy and healthy and know how to protect yourself, or you're in the gym a few days a week, here's what you're looking for. All right. First, age. It used to be, and I want to qualify this, sir, by saying I am not talking about the environment. Okay. I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about environmental factors. Stress, cortisol goes up, hormones go down. What causes stress? Work, social life, if you're single, dating, social media. When I used to see patients, social media was one of the biggest stressors in their life, thinking that they have to live like other people. You're only seeing the best, man. You're only seeing the best, ladies and gentlemen, right? Children, we love them, but they're a stressor. We worry about them 24/7. Family. So we're seeing a lot younger now, men starting around the ages, I'd say 26 to 27 through 31, women starting around the ages of about 31, 32 up to 36, 37, where they're starting. Now, yes, we know about perimenopause for women. Men forget about andropause. But here's what I ask you to look at. Don't look at your numbers, okay? There are a lot of lab values, assays that are very relevant. We need to pay attention to them. But for example, you go to a primary care doctor and it's ignorance, not malice. Okay. They're not doing it maliciously. They weren't trained on this. And the one study they used was about 65 years ago with 5 or 6 men, not enough, number one. And number two, I think it was 80% of those men had prostate cancer already. You can't look at that. That's like the Women's Health Initiative saying, well, we only looked at women past menopause. Now we see longitudinal studies, right? So what we're looking at is how are you feeling? Just because your number is, let's use 300 nanograms per deciliter up to 900 nanograms per deciliter, what LabCorp uses as a total T. Okay. First of all, you might be in the average normal, okay? But it's also normal to get sick and die. You don't want to get sick and die. How do you feel? Where's your energy compared to when let's say you're 27, let's say you're 37. Where's your energy from your early 20s, right? When you felt your best. Where's your focus? One thing we know for men and women, testosterone focuses the brain. It helps clear up that brain fog, right? So cognitively, how you feeling? Not Alzheimer's, not dementia, but are you forgetting things, Tobias, that you normally, it's right there, right? It's right there. How's your sleep? If you were to ask, if I wanted to train in the gym or in mixed martial arts or in anything and get the greatest results while I'm on something, I'll tell you right now in this order: sleep right, eat right, train right. Sleep is where we heal. The testosterone and controlling the estrogen, and in women, blocking the bad, promoting the good estrogen, is how we help bring that circadian rhythm back. So you're getting that quality sleep. Do you need 9 hours? Maybe you need 7. Research says 7 to 8 hours. Okay. That 6 might be okay now, but you increase cardiovascular disease possibilities there. Great book called Why We Sleep. It's not our book. It's somebody else's book. I don't remember the author, but it's a great book about sleep. So look at yourself. How is your endurance? How is your energy? If you're below the age of really 55 and you need a nap in the middle of the day, let's talk. For men, what are your erections like, right? Is it psychological or is it physical? If you're getting morning erections, I'm going to tell you now, it's more psychological than it is physical, but we have to look at it. For women, is intercourse painful? Dryness in a woman does not mean she's not aroused at all. That's hormonal. And even in a young age, in their mid to late 20s, their 30s, it doesn't mean they're not aroused by their partner, man. It just means something hormonal is going on. But as men, we think that. Women tend to think that, oh, his erections aren't as firm or he can't get erect right now. It's got nothing to do with the woman. It's up here for us men, right? With respect, not to sound like a jerk, women can use lube if they're like, yeah, I want it, but I'm just not wet. As a guy, we could try the sildenafil, the tadalafil, right? Viagra and Cialis. It may or may not work, but again, it's psychological. Let us help you flip that switch. Let us help you. How's your overall health? Are you getting sick or normal, more than others? When you are training MMA, boxing, right? Oh, boxing, I guess, would be in there. In the gym, are you recovering as well? Even in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, you should still be recovering well. So it's really looking at how are you? You see these things. If you feel that you don't need to take a quiz, you know how you're feeling. Because I'll tell you what, any quiz you take, I don't have one on our website because we're educational, Tobias. If you're feeling any of that, every quiz is going to say, yeah, you're qualified to be a patient. What I don't want is you coming to me saying, hey, I want to get swole. I want to get jacked. I'm not an anabolic factory. Yeah. Testosterone is not how those competitors got to look the way they did. Okay. That is optimizing versus replacing. Yes, I have to look at thyroid. I mean, we run an extensive panel, Tobias, and we're looking at everything we can get our hands on. How's your liver doing? How's your thyroid, T3, T4, TSH? What's going on in the comprehensive metabolic panel? Where's your PSA? Don't freak out about PSAs. A regular bowel movement or regular orgasm can elevate your PSA for a short period of time. But I hope I answered your question. Really, it's how are you feeling? And we're seeing people, because of environmental factors, starting even earlier now, even earlier on hormones.
That is interesting, man. Hope you guys are getting some knowledge from all this, because I'm learning some things in here too. And I've been in the industry for a very long time. So Mike, I appreciate that, man. And when you're kind of going into men versus women, is there specific hormonal issues that are more common in a man versus a woman?
That's another great question. That's why you are so successful at what you do, doing these podcasts and these shows. Yes and no. Women are looking inexperienced. So again, I don't want to sound misogynistic or sexist. What I hear from men is I can't put on muscle. What I hear from women is I can't lose weight. Okay. And that is hormonal. I don't tell you 9. I'll tell you 6.5 to 7 out of 10 times. That's hormonal for both genders. Is it that they're not active? All right. Well, there you go. Right. If you tell me you're not able to, put on more, the same muscle, or you're not losing weight. Well, okay. Are you doing the same things? So the first thing is women need testosterone as much as men. Men need estrogen for our heart, our brain, and our bones. but a certain amount of estrogen. Going back to what I shared earlier, roid rage is elevated estrogen. Meatheads don't talk about that. You do hear people that talk about aromatase inhibitors and certain dangers. The sad part is they mess you up, we fix you. I cannot tell you how many people, and I won't name one gentleman in particular that's known pretty far and wide, that has messed. Sadly, he is great for my business, but I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not the people. I mean, I'll take you, I'll fix you, right? Dr. Rand McLean, Dr. Todd Kilman, Kristen Sunig, our medical providers will fix you. You can easily reverse low estrogen much easier in a man than you can high estrogen. Gynecomastia. How do you know if your estrogen is too high? Even if you're not on hormones, men can have elevated estrogen, Tobias. Water retention is one way of knowing. Fat around the belly, you just can't get rid of. Another way of knowing. Tingling, tenderness, pain in the nipple area for men. The other one, easiest, irritability and mood swings.
You know what's so interesting about what you just talked about is most people think it's the testosterone that provides that roid rage, but it's the elevated estrogen levels. That's crazy.
Yeah, because remember, our body works on a biofeedback system with that hormone. So as T goes up in us, E goes up in us. Now, in all fairness, yes, the T caused the E to go up. All you have to do, you don't bury it. You don't block it. You control it. There's homeostasis, right? And let's use 8 to 28 as a number for estrogen. Men, I beg you, if you're not seeing us, okay, but you must test estradiol sensitive. Estradiol is what we use for women. Estradiol sensitive is for men. You may be a high converter, okay? So you would need more anastrozole, is typically what we use, versus tamoxifen. Tamoxifen will control the estrogen, but we can't test really. It blocks the estradiol sensitive test. It's not better than anastrozole. It's not worse than anastrozole. It's just a Arimidex. Anastrozole allows us to test. If it's too low, here's how one of the quickest ways you'll know. Your fingers are a little tight, right? A little tissue turgor, like, that hurts a little bit. Slight erectile dysfunction or no empathy, no mood. Something that used to tug at your heartstrings, nothing. Okay, let's pull back on an anastrozole, depending on how much you're taking. The flip side's true. You can get really bad ED and all those other things for high estrogen. Let's add one. And I will tell you, my experience is within 30 minutes. What I see clinically with patients, when the medical providers tell them, within an hour or two, you're going to notice a huge difference.
Wow.
Huge. When you're here and we ask you to take that and it controls it, you will notice it really that quick.
Whoa, that's crazy. I don't know it would be that fast, man. And similar onto that, can you explain how bioidentical hormones work and who they're for?
Absolutely. Another great question. I am a fan of saying, and I'm a big believer in saying, it's a marketing term, bioidentical. There is nothing that you can get that I can think of prescribed. And by prescribed, there's no medication that you will ever get from Regenerative and Sports Medicine, us, that is not from a licensed federally and state pharmacy. Bioidentical is more of a catchy term because now they are, meaning your body isn't converting it. It's recognizing it as if you endogenously produced it. Yes, you're exogenously putting it in your body, but you endogenously, it acts as if you had made it yourself. So whether it's a testosterone injection or cream, and I can share with you the reason I'm not a huge fan of cream and pellets, not just because they're much more expensive, but I can share that with you. For women, a biased cream, for example, 2 estrogens, that's all bioidentical. They were more marketing terms. Somebody might say it's like stem cells, if I may, that are called umbilical cord tissue now, because you have stems, muse, and exosomes in there. The FDA wants us to call it umbilical cord tissue. These are live births, but they all get third-party tested. Every product has to be third-party tested for sterility and the continuity, and making sure that if it says that this is what's in there, this is what's in there. Okay. What it means, though, again, long-winded apologies, is that your body isn't converting it. Your body is not saying, oh, crud, I have to extra protein there. Got to now convert this, move it over here, and this happens. It's not that your body's working harder when they weren't bioidentical, but it just means it's just like your body. It recognizes it's identical to what you're producing. So your body's saying, oh, thank you, right? Thank you.
Okay.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense? I mean, it's really marketing. It's
Yeah.
a lot of it's marketing. Hey,
That's interesting.
these are platinum stem cells. Okay, all you're saying is you have a third party birth certificate, meaning you tested it. That's all it means.
Okay.
Somebody better present that to you. If you order from me any product that's been compounded or manufactured, you have the right to see the certificate of authenticity that it was third party tested.
Gotcha. That makes total sense, man. And what about any natural or non-invasive ways to be able to improve hormonal health? Is it just more sleep training? Is that what you would recommend, or is there something else?
Here's the only concern with that. Okay. A lot of us, again, I'm one of them, buy into that, these supplements that you're buying at a GNC type place, right? Or a Costco. By the way, Kirkland makes great supplements. Really, if someone's looking to save money on supplements, yeah, you're buying a 10-year supply. But they test theirs against, we have no affiliation with them. They test theirs against the highest end, like a Designs for Health, a Zymogen, a Thorne, Pure Encapsulation. Those are the best names out there using pharmaceutical grade ingredients. But a lot of us are creating expensive urine, really is what we're doing.
Okay.
For muscle, one of the best out there, if you're really looking to supplement, is creatine. Okay. It's not going to necessarily raise, or it's not going to raise your testosterone levels, but it is going to help. Just make sure you stay hydrated, obviously, with creatine. These T boosters, they get away with it because, Tobias, here's what happens. I'm confident you've seen this in your business, professional life also. When somebody goes and spends a couple $100 on supplements per month, what else are they doing? They're in the gym.
Yep.
Okay, it's the gym that's doing it. Yes, if you sleep right. And when I say eat right, sir, I don't mean you have to eat clean and healthy. And no, when I'm bulking, when I bulk, I'll go to 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day, and I'll take calories in however I can. X amount of protein, and then give me 3 pieces of chocolate cake. I don't care. I need you. Well, think about it. You need gas for that car, right?
Yeah.
If I want to put on, I need to get in, hypothetically, let's say 4,000 calories, but only burn off 2,500 of them. So I have a surplus to convert to the muscle while I'm training. There are some, you look at milk thistle extract, Tribulus tribestis. Here's what I say. And unfortunately, it's not because it's what's best for us. If a supplement really did boost hormones to the degree that they market it will, the FDA will pull it. Not because it's not safe for you and I, but because somebody else told them to pull it because they can't make money off of it. Not being political, but that's just really, if you remember Ripped Fuel, do you remember Ripped Fuel?
Oh yeah, had ephedrine in there. Yep.
It had ephedra in there. The Malung, which was the herbal form of ephedra. You had fools that didn't read the label that said, if you have cardiovascular, so they pulled that off. They watered it down to bring it back. That worked. And they pulled it. That's why they pulled it. So if it really worked, now DIM, DIM, is it going to help your estrogen stay balanced as a man the way a Nasterzole will? No, but it's better than nothing from a research. I'm not a medical provider, right? PhD, doctor, not physician, PA or NP. So from a research perspective, it would help control your estrogen. However, again, it's not going to help do what you need it to do if you are using testosterone therapy. And for women, it's a different, women, none of it's paint by numbers, but yes, you can increase your energy, you can increase your focus, your libido, your desire, and you can increase your hormones positively by sleeping right, eating right, and training right. The supplements, we all need vitamin D. Almost every human on this earth, I don't care how much sun you get, is deficient in D and magnesium. Okay. So a good brand of those two never hurts. B, great one, especially if you have dryness and stuff like that. Your skin is dry during the winter and fall months. Get some vitamin B. C, you're going to urinate it out. It's got no negative effects. When you need it, your body's going to pull from it and use it. Look at research. You look at DHEA, those are great. You look at red yeast rice. If your cholesterol levels are off, ask your doctor if you can use red yeast rice instead of a statin. Red yeast rice is truly, legitimately a natural statin. So as an Italian American, I used red yeast rice and I went from really bad levels as an Italian Mediterranean to now all my cholesterol levels are pretty much great to good by just red yeast rice, no statin. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm saying ask your doctor because it's a natural statin. You can't take them together.
Oh man, that's a trip. So you guys get some red yeast statin,
Yeah.
and especially if you're dealing with some of those issues, man. And if somebody's wanting to really start to optimize their hormonal health, what are just a couple small changes that people can make, like starting today, that you would recommend?
Starting today, I'd get on a sleep cycle. I mean, I use Apple, and I just use a free app. I'm cheap. It's called Sleep Watch. The app I downloaded doesn't cost me anything. It hooks to my phone, to my watch that I sleep with. Where's your heart rate variable? One of the things we're looking at right now is how's your heart when you're sleeping? How much is your heart rate decreasing when you're sleeping? How much good sleep, let's call it REM, to, a little outside of REM, to restless sleep, restful to restless sleep. Start watching that. Oura rings are great. They're a little pricier, right? You might already have an Apple Watch, any generation. You might have an iPhone. And there's other apps. Yep, there you go. And there's other apps out there, man. But that's a nice, inexpensive way. I don't pay for it because I don't believe I don't need to know what other people my age are doing. I need to know what I'm doing. So first with sleep, I do watch TV. My wife and I cuddle before bed. So that doesn't seem to be bad. But you cooler the room, make sure you block out the light, try not to be on your phone, but sleep. We all think, listen, man, when I was in college, I didn't need as much sleep, right? I was a nighttime person, get up early in the morning. Great, but your body needs it, and you're going to get to a point. Sleep is one of the first things. And then when I say eat right, you don't have to eat 3, 4, 5 big meals. 3 big meals. Eat a couple medium-sized meals. I mean, I think you and I know this. One of the ways is eat till you're satisfied. What does Ozempic, which is semaglutide, or Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide, what are they doing? The ghrelin factor is telling your brain, you're done, you're satisfied, you're full, you don't need to eat more. We can do that naturally without these GLP-1s, glucagon-like peptide ones, but most of us don't have that willpower. Eat until you're satisfied, not full, right? That'll make you feel better. Stay hydrated. One of the reasons we get so fatigued sometimes during the day is we're dehydrated. Stay hydrated. I love coffee. It's got a lot of health benefits, and it makes me regular when I run to the bathroom. So, yep, there you go. So these are little things that don't cost you anything. Don't cost. Rand's got a book, not to promote it, but it's great. And did I get you a copy of it?
Not
Cheating
yet.
Death. All right, I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
Cheating Death. And what he talks about in there is you don't have to be a millionaire to do a lot of these things. Ice baths. How much ice do I really need? Sauna. How can I use one that's not going to cost me a fortune? I don't have to buy it and put it in my house, right? Ice baths versus going to spend money on cryotherapy. What supplements are really good for me versus expensive urine, as I call it? What are Muse cells, stem cells, exosomes? What is replacing your hormones versus optimizing? And if I can give you a quick way to look at it, man or woman, women usually use 20 milligrams of, usually, again, I'm not a medical provider. I'm sharing with you what clinical and research, usually use 20 milligrams of testosterone every 7 days, men 200 milligrams every 7 days. At our office, we do a 90-day follow-up with labs. See where you're going, because it takes about a week or two into it, you're going to feel better than you did. 3 or 4, even better. 5, 6 is where optimal kicks in. Okay. But if your 90-day review, you tell one of our medical providers, listen, I feel phenomenal day 1 through 7. Great. Beautiful. There's where we're keeping you. If you say, I feel phenomenal day 1 through 5 or day 1 through 6, but day 6 and 7 or day 7, I feel good, but not the same. We don't increase your dose because it's telling us, even if we put more in you, Tobias, you're metabolizing it faster. So instead of increasing your dose, we increase your frequency. That's optimizing you. It's also knowing that these have an 8-day half-life. So if someone's dosing you 14 days, what's happening? You're peaking, you're troughing. You're peaking, right, up and down. So if you have an 8-day half-life, you can't go here. But if you have an 8-day half-life, you can go here or here. It's like a pain med. Don't get addicted. But if you're supposed to take it every 6 hours and you take it every 10 hours, you're going to have 4 hours of pain, right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Optimizing is paying attention and listening. It's looking at a thyroid number, TSH or T3 or T4, and saying, well, you're in the range. However, you're exhibiting, never mess with the thyroid if the thyroid doesn't need to be messed with. Unfortunately, there are some out there that do what we do that will speed up your thyroid to help you lose weight. That's a risk. That's dangerous. Don't touch the thyroid. Not unless you actually are hyper or hypo or borderline.
Okay, that makes sense, man. And I have a really good friend that I train with sometimes, and he's a little bit older. He's in his 60s, and he was saying, obviously, that he goes to a doctor, and after 14 days, then that's what the doctor prescribes him is once every 14 days. But he's like, I feel like shit after 6 or 7 days. I'm like, good, and then I'm boom. But the doctor doesn't,
It's ignorance, brother. Yeah. It's ignorance, not malice. And
Yeah.
they're not trained on this. You're starting to see endocrinologists and urologists be trained on this in medical school. OBGYNs are still refusing to do it, which is sad. Yes, that would eat into my medicine practice. However, our thought is this: it's not competition if they're doing it the right way. And this isn't arrogance. I have about 5 or 6 competitors nationwide that do it the right way. The rest burn and churn. Bait and switch. With us, here's the price. Okay. It's this. There's no shades of gray. There's no, these events where you and I met. A lot of places that do what we do. We have a special here, a special. I don't run specials. I'm a medical provider. I'm not a med spa. I'm a medical practice. And though we don't take insurance, we want to make sure you understand if you're paying for a 30-minute consult initial or a 1-hour consult initial and you go 15, 20 minutes over, you're not being charged. We respect that you need that time with us. 24/7, you can reach us through the portal. You can have a follow-up anytime you want. You don't need it. People like to generate revenue that way. But, with us, if we've met you in person, you have an initial and 90-day and then once a year. If we've never met you in person, and just so you know, this is actually the federal guidelines for anybody. They could try to sell you on why you should spend more, but the federal guidelines are an initial and 90-day, and then if they've never met you, every 6 months. The laws that we all heard about have now also been pushed back to the end of December 2025, so there will be no issues with telemedicine laws. I just heard from my DEA consultant yesterday that the Controlled Substance Act is being pushed out till December of 2025. And they were going more after, here I go down a rabbit hole, the psych meds. They're going after people that do what I do, no psych meds, but never meet with a patient. It would be a patient care consultant, not a medical provider.
Yeah.
Or they're going after the people that are writing the Adderalls, the opioids, that's who they're trying to stop. But we're okay right now.
Yeah. Is there any red flags that somebody should pay attention to that would signal for them, hey, you got to seek some medical help? Like this is something that definitely got to talk to. What would those be? If
again, as we talked about earlier, first and foremost, and we say this to our patient, if you think that there are no emergencies in our medicine, zero, okay? Worst case, somebody, and not to be funny, is my testicles are shrinking, it hurts. Okay, we'll share with you how to fix that. The orgasm and the erection is the base of the spine, has nothing to do with the size of your testicles. Maybe I'm getting a little acne because your DHT is elevated and you didn't want to use something to control the DHT. But men and women, right, if you're Propecia, which is finasteride, was created for male pattern baldness, used for women now, and for prostate health. Proscar is the same drug, finasteride. If those things are happening, your hormones might be out of whack a little bit. Okay, you might not need testosterone. If I'll argue 30 and below, you could even argue up to 34 and below, you might not need testosterone. What we may need to do is use something like HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, not for a diet. All that was caloric restriction. But something like HCG or N-clomiphene, which is newer than Clomid. Clomid's a little dirtier, meaning more side effects. We may be able to ask your body to naturally kick in its production. Okay, that's with you and the medical provider. You do have some men that will say, well, I want to go right to the T. Okay, do you have to be on it for the rest of your life? No. Should you? Yes. The only time we see patients come off is if it's a choice between their hormones and putting food on the table, right? That's really the only time we see patients come off. And we get that, and we do our best to help work with them because, again, this is something they need. But if we can get your body to kick in when you're 30 and below, 34 and below, you may not need us again for another 5-10 years. But if your body doesn't kick in after 3 to 4 or 5 weeks, then we have to look at testosterone. What you're looking at is, again, let's go back to that. And as silly as it sounds, yes, there are 19, 20, 21-year-old men and women that cannot get out of bed. They're not overweight. They look like they're in good shape, but they have no energy. They can't focus on things. They're training and they can barely make it through their workout. They're napping all day. They can't concentrate in school or at work. Those are the areas where you want to, let's look at your hormones. My primary care respected the fact he knew who Rand McClain was, Dr. Rand McClain, the physician. So he had no problem with letting Rand take over my therapy. He put me on gel first, my primary care, and that didn't do anything. I mean, for men, the gels and the creams are about 45% as effective as the injection and more than twice as much money. The pellets are about twice as much money as the injection. And a 4-month pellet, it's out of you by the start of the fourth month. And now you've got a month where you're coming off like your friend every 14 days.
Yeah.
So unless you can afford to replace them every 3 months when they're a 4-month pellet, it's an invasive procedure. Whether you're active in the gym, you bike, MMA, intimate with your partner, that incision can open, or often a pellet slips out of its sac. It's not going to hurt your body, but you don't get the benefits of the pellet. When you look at from us, just again, not pitching you come to us, but I can only give you pricing from us. An injection is $100 for 10 weeks. That's $10 a week. Okay, so $40 in a 28, or let's use 4 weeks, right? Versus $86 a month for a cream versus about, you can get them cheap, but I wouldn't use those pellets in you, versus about $400 every 4 months for a pellet. That, again, as a business, I make more money off the cream and the pellet, and we push everyone to the injection because our number one goal is you.
Nice. Yeah.
That's it. You.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thanks for the honesty with that as well, and for what you're doing, man. And obviously, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to hormonal optimization in there too, because everybody thinks, the big S, and everything in there too. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you hear about this?
You just hit the nail on the head. It's that black cloud, that old wives' tale, that myth, right? So the word steroid comes from the word cholesterol. Stir in cholesterol is where the word comes from. Okay. Hormones are hormones. We understand as people, most of us, about thyroid. Oh, if my thyroid's too fast, we need to slow it down. I've got to optimize my thyroid. If it's too slow, we got to speed it up. Thyroid's a hormone. Mm-hmm. We understand insulin, hormone. Again, never mess with insulin if you're not in the need of it. That's what these bodybuilders respectfully are doing for certain reasons that they shouldn't be doing. They can be inducing diabetes. My point to this is we understand replacing thyroid and insulin. We need to get into the understanding of what the Women's Health Initiative is saying, and hundreds of thousands of studies by reputable places, not pharma companies, not biotech companies, not manufacturers or compounding pharmacies, about the benefits to optimizing all of our hormones. When your testosterone is low, like a hormone being slow, thyroid being slow or insulin, you need to, now again, they're not all going to happen at the same time, hopefully, right? But let's look at, if you understand the reason we do thyroid and insulin, let's start understanding why we need to promote the good, block the bad estrogens in a woman. Let's understand why we need to elevate testosterone in both genders for just all-cause mortality decreasing by up to 81% when we do that for both genders. For men, it protects the prostate. It's a myth about prostate cancer. What we see in research is it's the estrogen receptors in our prostate that stimulate prostate cancer. Nothing's 100%, Tobias, and if someone says it is, walk away. Nothing in science or life is 100%. But if we live to be 80 as men, we have the gene to get prostate cancer. Will we? Possibly not. But we have that gene. It's no longer a death sentence. It's no longer a life sentence. It's much easier to treat now, easily, without any issues. Rand himself, Dr. Rand McLean himself, and he talks about it in the book Cheating Death, had prostate cancer, never came off his hormones. We have women with breast cancer that their hormones change a little bit. It's just a matter of understanding that black cloud was there because it was associated with guys like me when I was younger, the meatheads, the gym rats, those muscle-bound freaks, right? And I was one of them. Say it proudly. Say it proudly. People would say, oh, you're doing the roids. Yeah, I am. But if you think just shooting something in me is going to make me look the way I used to look, you're insane. You have to do the training too. But you don't, that's not who we're treating. We're treating those people I shared with you, the everyday person that wants to feel better and look better. When you can get some results, you feel better. I'm a psychologist. Psychologically, right? You feel better. So getting the knowledge, and that's what we spend a lot of time and money doing, where I met you, is educating. Listen, you may not become a patient of ours, but if you become a patient somewhere, understand the reason you are doing this. The gentlemen, the women you see on stage are stacking multiple things, okay? That's not there are certain testosterone is anabolic 1-to-1 to androgenic. Okay. You do have legal products out there that if somebody is in the need of, we can use that are more anabolic for getting rid of the bad weight, leaning out, getting rid of the bad weight, or putting on a little more health, converting what you have to more healthy muscle. Or if you're too lean, helping you put on that healthy muscle, because it does help our body. It helps our brain. Those are legal, but you do a course of them. The gym term is cycle, but you do a course of them, always staying on your T, right? And these other products, you're not going to lose anything you gain as long as you continue living your same life. And let's look at health span, not longevity. Longevity means living longer. But I don't know about you. If I can't wipe myself and have pleasure and give pleasure to my wife, that's not living to me. Health span is living longer and healthier. And that's what we're looking at is health span. We start now, we be proactive about it, and we stay proactive about it.
Nice, man.
But it's that, you said it, brother, it's that steroid thing.
Yeah.
We all need to understand this isn't your Lyle Alzado stuff, right? May he rest in peace. This isn't, I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole as to why everyone should be allowed to do it if they need it, right? If they need it. But they said Barry Bonds hit, I think it was 17 or 21 additional home runs because of his size. That was it. If you think putting on size will help you swing a bat, you're insane. I think the toughest thing in any sport, to get kicked by you would hurt. But you can teach me how to kick. Good luck learning how to hit a fastball, right? Good luck learning how to hit a fastball.
Yeah, great points on there, man. And how can some of the listeners that are tuning in here learn more about regenerative medicine or getting started on their own, hormonal health journey? What would you?
Absolutely. So here's my suggestion. And again, I don't want to pitch that you join RSM, we call it Regenerative Sports Medicine. I do believe we're the best or one of the best because we have Dr. Rand McLean. There's hundreds plus million views on the YouTube videos. We don't make any money off of it. It's Ask the Doc on Jay Cutler. They're just questions that get sent in from all over the world. And they're allowed to take them and put them on other sites. And they're on a few other sites now where they're just all over. They're on our site. But they're questions about what can you do? What should you do? If you want to learn a little bit more about us, I would go to www.drandmcclain.com/Y like yellow, T like tango, /. If you have any questions and that wasn't easy for you, just email contact us, just those two words together, CONTACTUS, contact us at P like Paul, S like Sam, R like Ralph, med.com. Tell us you heard us, you talk, about it, talking on Tobias's show. We'll send you that link so you can see it. You can sign up for a free 15-minute, it never goes 15, by the way. It usually goes 20 or 30, VIP call with a executive team member at Regenerative Sports Medicine. And what we do is let you know how we partner with you. How do we partner with you to optimize not just your hormones, but your overall health, Tobias?
Okay.
On the website, we'll give you that link. It's there also on the landing page I shared with you. It does talk about who we are. There's no gimmicks. There's no sales, nothing. It's what does this mean? What does that mean? How come? Frequently asked questions. We're going over all that because for us, it's about educating, Tobias. It's all about educating.
Amazing. If we can just close out on one piece of advice, one small thing to give to somebody that's just kind of like starting off to explore this topic, what would you tell that person?
I tell them to reach out to us and let us do that VIP call. That's the first thing I would tell them. There's monthly packages. There's a la carte. What I would tell them is do your research, whether it's us or somebody else. Do your research. Don't look at, no offense, don't look at blogs or Reddit channels. Go to the medical journals. Look at the research. If that's the type of I'm a researcher. Look at the research done scientifically. And I know that's scary to say these days, but that you see, there's a significant p-value. It's statistically significant. And then find a practice, whether it's us or somebody else, that's really going to work one-on-one with you. No paint by numbers, no cookie cutter. You have to fill out an extensive questionnaire with us. You should with them. You should be getting your blood work done prior to your consult. Have to test total and free T, many other things, but estradiol sensitive. That right there, Tobias, is one way I know some of the good from the bad places. Okay. Estradiol sensitive, and it shouldn't cost you any more money, brother, any more money. Okay. Then from there, you want to make sure your consults are always with a medical provider, meaning a DO, an MD, those are physicians, a PA, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner, NP. Only those 4 types of credentials are legally and ethically authorized to write prescriptions, to make suggestions. And don't forget this, nobody should push you into anything. These are recommendations based on you personally. If we suggest something, it's up to you. And my providers, and this is what I want you to look for also, they don't even know what anything costs. They don't know. Why? Because if they suggest something, if they suggest you use magnesium, they're not telling you a brand. Yes, we sell the higher end brands that might cost you $10 more than a lower end brand, but we suggest it. We're not telling you have to get it from us. Okay. If they suggest you do CJC 1295 ipamorelin, they're not big. Nobody is forcing you. Don't let anyone bait and switch you. And I say that seriously. And don't let anyone tell you you need something. What you need, if you're going down this path, is the testosterone and to control your estrogen. Okay. As a man, woman, testosterone, and make sure your estrogen's okay. Where's your progesterone, your pregnenolone? Where's all estradiol, estriol, and estrone for a woman? Don't let anyone tell you need. There's needs and wants. You need to optimize your hormones. You may want to do other things, but don't let anyone tell you you need to do these peripheral things, because truly that's where you generate revenue. And I don't mean to be a jerk, but you do great medicine, brother. You're going to do great business.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And just to add on, I know human growth hormone is one of those big kind of
great drug
things in there too. Is that something that you could help somebody with if they're deficient in that as well? Or
absolutely. So we test IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1.
Okay.
HGH has about a 20-minute half-life, and our body secretes it usually between 2 and 3 in the morning. No one's going to test it then. So we test IGF-1. There's a few ways to skin that cat, so to speak. I don't want my wife to hear that because she loves her cats, but putting it in exogenously, okay, meaning using a Sizin, a Serostim, somatropin, those. Is it dangerous? I'm going to tell you there's pros and cons to it. Remember, your heart's a muscle, and I am guilty of using too much human growth hormone. My heart was already larger as an athlete. It got a little larger. But what you want to recognize is there is a therapeutic dose, and that's what you should use. The other way to combat that around and mitigate some of the risks. One of the reasons you don't want to start any type of growth hormone peptidomatic or secretagogue peptide or growth hormone itself without having blood work done is growth hormone, natural, pure growth hormone. If you have one tumor, it's going to shrink it. I'm not saying it's cancerous or not. It's going to shrink it. Multiple, it'll exacerbate it. It recognizes it as host normal, and it can exacerbate it. So can it hurt you? Yes. Will it? It shouldn't, as long as you follow the proper channels. Interesting, it's not a controlled substance, pure human growth hormone, but it is highly regulated. It is highly watched. And when you see facilities get shut down, it's typically for growth hormone use. In the US, it's very regulated. In Canada, they can write it with both hands because they understand. They understand it's being used the correct way. Go to these peptides. They're the wave of the future, man. If you look at Kennedy again, whatever you think about his politics, he's now saying, if you saw that thing he put out on X, I think it was Twitter, X, where even if pharma can't make billions, we don't care anymore if it helps people. Peptides are the way of the future. They really, really are. And you have ipamorelin, usually combined with CJC 1295, sermorelin, which actually has a lot of research on it, but ipamorelin and ibutamorin, also known as MK677, the oral, what they do is they tell your ghrelin factor to tell your pituitary to secrete more growth hormone endogenously, naturally. So you exogenously put something in your body, one sub-Q injection, one would be oral. Take it right before bed, though, Tobias, because you will get hungry. Okay, that's what happens with GH also. And that's when your body's naturally producing and secreting. I like the ibutamorin pill, not because it's a little less expensive. I can just take it. It's on my bedside, right? Yeah. Versus going down to my fridge, which I'm ready to go to bed. I'm ready to go to bed. So I'm ready to have a little fun with my wife, one of the two. So the mixed CJC 1295 in there, because that hits the GHRH, growth hormone receptor hormone also, not just the ghrelin. But they're great products, and they're about 10 to 15% of the cost. Real growth hormone is expensive. When I was executive vice president of Serono, we made Serostim. We bought over 10,000 vials off the black market. And I can tell you less than 17 of those vials out of 10,000, more than 10,000, less than 17 were actually growth hormone. The others were HCG or just powder. That's it. Gosh. So you don't want to buy it. The same thing with peptides. You're saying, well, Michael, you're just trying to make money. No, I'm just going to be real with you. Every product, whether it's oral or injectable, Tobias, has to be, there's binding agents in there. There's other ingredients in there to make it last the way it says. Third-party testing. Nobody can get something from my medical practice that hasn't come from a pharmacy that's federally and state licensed and third-party tested. So yes, ibutamoren may be $8 a pill for me and $5 a pill from some peptide science online, but I don't know what's in there. And just because your friend's got a good batch doesn't mean you're going to get a good batch. I get a lot of calls. Hey, I'm having these weird side effects. I've been taking this. Okay, what's in there? I don't know. I bought it from this. Reach out, find out what's in there. I can't. You have no recourse when you buy it off those places. Are all of them shady? No. However, they're skirting the law by saying they're for research purposes only, typically on animals. Okay. Yes, the FDA reclassified it to a category 2, which means peptides are not proven to be safe. They're not proven to be unsafe. So they can still be manufactured. Okay. But you want to get it from a licensed, not licensed, meaning federally and state licensed pharmacy, where they are required to have them third-party tested. Required. Awesome. And if it's 25 milligrams, you know it's 25 milligrams because they can sell you 25 milligrams and put 3 milligrams in there. You will never know. And you're wondering why it's not working. That's why it's not working.
Wow. Yeah, that's very good feedback in there, man. And Michael, I just want to say today we could jam forever. I mean, I could just sit here and ask you a million questions, but I appreciate everything, man. You are an amazing guy. Make sure you check him out. Go to the website, drrandmclain.com/YT/ and you can just get a free 15-minute call.
Seriously, there's no obligation. No. Yep. If I ever found out that any of my team members doing that, respectfully, not to be a jerk, we're forcing, no, there's no sales. They're not bonused. They're not incentivized. They're to educate and educate only, sir. That's it.
I love it, man. So, man, just want to say thank you again so much for your amazing time, your wisdom, and all that you do to help people out. If you got value from this podcast, make sure that you subscribe and tune in for more episodes.
One thing real quick, I want to thank you for what you do. I've gotten to know you over the course of most of this year, and those who are listening already know that about you, but you are one of a kind. There are very few people, men or women out there, that care the way you do. And I believe that's why we understand each other. This is about people, brother. This is about people. It's not about us. I get up every morning the way you do because we're helping people, or we hope we're helping people. It gets us out of bed. And we're blessed to live in a world with somebody like you, Tobias.
Man, truly. Michael, that means a ton, dude. Thank you so much for that. Super appreciate you. Yeah. And I agree. This is like when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So you guys, I'm retired. I'm not working anymore.
Exactly, brother.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it. Welcome to the... Thanks for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.